Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's overcast here. It's in the upper 80s and it's a little bit breezy. It feels really good. The humidity has lifted and things are going. The garden has recovered, and I showed you some of the produce that I have been getting out of there, and it is really going gangbuster, especially the peas and the okra and the things like that now. The green beans are finally starting to take off some, but the peas, the Red Ripper cow peas, they overtook that row in width. They have went, and so they kind of smothered out some of the green beans. But we'll take what we get. We're happy that we're going to have a kind of a harvest. And I wanted to apologize to you for not having a video out yesterday on Tuesday. I actually made a video, and when I was out in the yard, the grass has started growing again because of the rain, and I set my chair out there, and I thought I'm going to just do this video. Unbeknownst to me, I set my chair right on a hill or a nest of ants, and as I was finishing the video, they were biting around my ankle and my foot, and so I signed off really quick and got those little boogers off of me, and so now my foot and my ankle has a bunch of blisters on it from, I don't really guess they're blisters, I guess it's ant bites, but anyway, I got that taken care of, and I came in, sit down to edit my video, and I don't know really what happened. You guys know that I'm about as computer savvy as a piece of wood. Anyway, it said that my SD card had an error on it and it needed to be repaired. So Blade sat down and got that all set up to repair. And when the computer finally got done and said that it was repaired, it still wouldn't read the SD card, and so something went wrong with that, and I lost all the footage. And so I thought I'd come on here today and talk to you today what I was going to talk to you about yesterday. It's kind of funny, that the subject that I had chosen to speak about yesterday, considering all that I just told you. Plus, I have a terrible, terrible crick in my neck up to the back of my skull and down through my shoulder, and I guess I just slept wrong last night. But my subject I talked about yesterday was flexibility. Sometimes I get tickled when I think that I have it all figured out, and things change, and I think, you know, I'm not really as smart as I think I am. So today I'm speaking about flexibility when I'm actually having a little bit of trouble in the natural with flexibility because of my being in a crick. And so I have some spray, some thermal spray stuff that I can spray on my neck and my shoulder. Before I go to church tonight, I teach the little children on Wednesday nights, and so I got to get my craft together and my lesson together, and I know those little fellas will smell that spray, and you know how it is with littles. They don't miss anything, so they'll be asking all about what they're smelling and what it's for and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, getting back onto the for what I talked about yesterday, flexibility. We've got some things that are coming up here, not necessarily on the farm, but involving people on the farm. Papa Tex, I've already shared with you, he is going to, in the next few weeks, be having some surgery on his heart. They have to do some work with one of his valves, and they're going to be putting a device in his heart. And so he'll be down for a little while. And then, of course, Cheyenne is I think she's 36 weeks pregnant, and they've told her to, you know, pack her bag because it could be any time. So all of the things that we have planned, the fall garden, you know, all of the different things that need to be taken care of with the animals and all that, we need to be flexible because plans can change really quickly here, and it can at your home as well. And I thought about the flexible thing, you know, Blade and Cheyenne and little Howie and soon to be baby Rowdy. You know, they're considering a job off in another state, and for a few years, and so that's a very real possibility that his little family will be moving off, and so I have to begin to think about the farm going forward. Now, if you've been here for very long, you know that I'm 52. I don't try to hide it. I can't hide it. I got gray hair and I've got wrinkles and I look like I'm 52. Some of you may say you look a little older than that. But anyway, you know, that's not old, but it is time for me to consider gearing the farm or growing in a direction with the farm that I can age in place. And others that are here, Papa Tex and Terry, and some of the others that help us, that are that we are, you know, getting up there a little bit, and so we need to think about how the farm functions and how the gardens function and how the orchards function and all these things to take into consideration of how we'll make sure that these projects can get done and done in an easier way for us. Now, I have an in-ground garden, and I will, for the foreseeable future, I will still be growing my tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and those kind of things in the ground crops, potatoes and those kind of things. But I also have had plans, and I've shared them with you, all around the inside of the garden fences. I plan on building late winter, early spring of this next year, Lord willing, raised beds where I can grow onions and carrots and garlic and herbs and really have nice spaces that are higher up off the ground and make it easier for us when we're working in those beds. Now, it might be a stair-step project, meaning they might be, you know, a couple feet high up off the ground to start with. Money and we all know that supplies are limited, money's limited, and so I'll do the best that I can to start with. And in years to come, I may have to bump them up a little bit higher in height so that we can access them, get to them, be able to work, weed, and do the things that need to be done, and still make it easy for us, for our physical bodies. Now, I have a strawberry bed that's raised, and it makes it really easy for a person to go over to it and to do weeding and picking the strawberries and taking care of the runners and all the things that needs to be done with it without having to be all the way down on the ground on your knees and trying to do those projects. Now, those of you that are my age or older know that it's harder and harder to get up off of the ground. And I got to thinking about this watching my grandson Howie. Now, he is crawling now, and my goodness, if you turn your back for just a few seconds, he's out of your sight. And he's starting to pull up on stuff, and he's really wanting to walk. But I got to watching how he sits down on the floor and how he might have one leg tucked behind him and the other one going out straight. And I thought, man, oh man, that looks painful. Now, to him, it's not. He's not stressed or anything when he's sitting like that. But I thought, how in the world would I get up off the ground if I tried to sit like what he sits? And then I caught myself thinking over in my head the process of getting up off the floor. I can't do like I did when I was, in elementary school, and they had everybody sit Indian style and cross-legged, and then you just got up off the ground. I can't do that anymore. And so that has got me to thinking about all of the different things that I need to do here on the farm. Besides the garden, I need to consider my fruit orchards. Now, most of our trees that we've planted so far, that are fruit trees anyway, are smaller trees, are dwarf or semi-dwarf trees. And going forward in the future, that's all that I will be getting. Now, I want to continue to add to the orchard. I've lost the last 2 years with drought and the heat being so bad. I have lost a few of my apple trees, and so I plan on replanting those this next spring along with some other trees. And my goal is to go with the dwarf or the semi-dwarf trees. Now, I have a pear tree out here in this little field next to the house, and it is loaded with pears. But it is a big, normal-sized tree, and so that some of the pears are way up in the top of the tree, gorgeous pears. And I'll just tell you, last year when it was time to harvest the pears, I backed my farm truck, which has a flatbed on it, up to the tree, and I climbed up on the back of the truck bed, and I picked pears, and I had to leave the top pears for the birds. And I had plenty of pears, and so I didn't mind sharing with the birds. This year, I've got a lot of low-hanging fruits, and so I'll be able to get those, but there again are some higher ones that I'll probably have to do, get on the back of the truck or trailer or something. But it's really not a good idea to do that, especially if I'm here on the farm by myself. Accidents can happen. Even to younger people, accidents can happen, and I don't want to have any kind of accidents or injuries that's going to lay me up for any amount of time, and I don't want anybody else to get hurt trying to harvest fruits either. And so that's something here on Cedar Creek that I'll be doing, is going with smaller fruit trees for the orchards anyways. And then, of course, the berries, the blackberries, raspberries, they grow up, they grow vertical, and so that won't be an issue. And I need to put in another strawberry bed, but I will do just like this one and make a raised bed so that the stuff is, I've got good access to it. Grapes grow up, and so all of those things are going to be okay for me. But I have to plan for the future, and that means that there are things that could potentially be hazards for me, or for Papa Tex and Terry, or anybody else that is aging in place here on our farm, or here comes the train. Another thing that we have to consider is our animals. Now, this is a cow-calf operation, and so we need to take into consideration that we're working out with all of these big animals, not just for those that are aging in place here, but for Blade and Cheyenne and my grandchildren and anybody coming up in the future. We need to make sure that safety is a concern. That's one reason why this past month or so we took off some of the cows that were kind of high-headed, and beautiful cows, had beautiful calves, and I hated to get rid of them. But one of them had already put Papa up on the fence out in the cow lot, injured his leg, and we just couldn't take that chance of one of us getting hurt. It just takes one time of getting trampled by a cow or a bull that could be fatal. And so we had to consider all of those things, getting rid of those animals that might be a problem for us in the future. We want to work smarter, not harder, and we want to be safe in what we're doing. Now, going beyond the physical with flexibility and being able to maneuver and move quick enough, get out of the way of a mad mama cow, or being able to do any of the kind of chores here on the farm, work in the flower beds or the garden beds or whatever. Beyond all of that, we also have to be flexible with our plans and all of the things that we have going on, our hopes and dreams and goals, and you have to do likewise. There are things that have to be considered with every project that we take on. We know that supply chain issues has really happened in the building industry with lumber and with concrete and metal supplies, all of the things that we really need here on the homestead. Fencing supplies, I really haven't had trouble with fencing supplies like T-posts, and I've got plenty of rolls of barbed wire and some of that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you that cattle panels that a whole lot of people are using for their gardens right now, and for here, projects that you do around your home, those have went up considerably in prices. They're pretty high, and so we have to consider that. We have to consider availability. We have to consider cost. We have to consider the project as a whole. We might have intended to get some new pens built this past summer, but because of the drought and the heat, the prices of grain and hay prices, my hay went up $5 a bale, and that hits you in the pocketbook. Plus, the price of your cattle when they go to market has went down, and so you have to be flexible with your projects and with the things that that you have a list. In fact, here on our farm, it's a kind of a little bit of a joke when we have something that needs to be done. Papa Tex will say, put it on the list. And he'll say, put that on number 166. It's not necessary that we have 166 projects at any one time, but we have a lot of projects. With him doing that, it kind of keeps us a little bit grounded with our project list, and helps us to kind of have a little bit of levity, not just losing our cool or worrying ourselves to death, but just putting on the list, knowing that we've all acknowledged that it's something that needs to be taken care of. Some things, when he says put it 166 on the list, or whatever the number happens to be, it kind of lets me know where on the list of things that need to be done he considers something an emergency project or something that can wait a little bit. And that's a comfort to me, because I'll tell you, since I lost Howie, I'm still in the learning process. And to me, something can look like a big, major, this has got to be done right now. And by him doing that, it kind of lets me know that I've got a little bit of wiggle room. Now, if a project comes up and he says, hey, we better make that number 1 or number 2, or if it even makes the top 10, then I know that I need to have a little bit more attention directed towards that thing. And I need to be flexible and move some things down that were up on the list and move that thing up that has just been drawn to our attention. Now, I used to work for Walmart in the accounts payable department. And one of the things that they taught us when I took a team lead position, we had to go to a class on using our planners, which sounds really funny, that you would have to go to a class that teaches you how to use your calendar and your daily planner. But it was really had some eye-opening information in it, and they taught you how to take each day and you write down the list of things that you want to accomplish for that day. Then the next day, or the next however many days, if the projects didn't get that done that day and they were important enough to put on that list, then you had to move them over. Sometimes we didn't really want to move that project over because it was deemed a priority. But then something else arose and that thing got pushed down over to the next day, or maybe even over to the next week, and the new thing that had come up had to be taken care of first. And that was a way for us to keep our eyes on the things that needed to be done, the things that needed to be taken care of, but realize that there were other things that needed our direct attention. It's the same way on our farms, in our families. You know that some things come up. There might be some kind of thing that you want to do with your children. But then a bill arises, unexpected bill, something at your home breaks down. Maybe your hot water heater goes out, or something happens with your car, and things get pushed. It's not that you deem those things that get pushed unimportant anymore, but you just realize that you have to be flexible to get those things moved into the right priorities, the right number on the list, so to speak. So we need to be flexible with ourselves and allow ourselves new ways of looking at how to get projects done as we age and our bodies begin to be not as flexible. But we need to remain flexible in how we deal with people and how we deal with projects and how we deal with the everyday thing. Remain flexible there. Don't allow ourselves to be rigid. There's one other area of flexibility. So we've talked about the physical, where we're aging in place and we're learning to be flexible and doing things, especially if you've planned to stay where you're at on your farm or your home, your place of residence, and gear towards this is how we're going to do things going forward, so that you're able to remain in your place as long as possible. That's the goal. We've talked about that. We've talked about being flexible when we have to readjust plans when something comes up. Being flexible, not letting that just throw a a wrench into everything and upset the apple cart, however you want to say it, to be flexible to overcome those issues and those challenges. And this last year, I have caught myself many times just smiling and shaking my head, because I can't really do anything about it other than pray about it and just live life and do the best that I can. The third type of flexibility that I wanted to cover was flexibility when it comes to your beliefs and your morals and how your family decides to serve the Lord. Howie and I took a stand in our marriage. He was a pastor and I was a pastor's wife, and we knew what we believed, and to this day I know what I believe. I know where I stand on things, and I'm unwilling to be flexible on those. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't love people. That doesn't mean that I don't want to be around people and I want to love people and encourage people. I absolutely want to do that. But I'm not going to change my core beliefs, my morals. Those I refuse to be flexible on. And you need to know exactly what you believe in and where you stand on things. Now, I'm not talking about, the colors, you might, one year green's your favorite color and another year blue might be your color. I'm talking about the very core of your being, what you really, really hold to be truths and principles in your life. Those are the things that you're not flexible on. Those are the things that you draw a line and you say, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord, and this is how we're doing it. This is what we believe in. And we take that stand. Well, guys, I hope I've said something today to encourage your heart about being flexible in on our homesteads and in the workload and the things that happen, but taking a stand on what you believe in and standing on your morals. I had to laugh that today I'm speaking about being flexible when I've got such a terrible crick in my neck, but I'm going to be okay. I'll put that spray on and I'll relax a little bit before I go teach at church tonight, and everything will be just fine. Well, guys, this is Josie. I love you. I really do. I hope everything is cooling off at your place and you're getting enough rain for those of us that have been terribly dry. I know some of you are now have too much rain, and we're praying for you as well. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. Love one another. And until next time, guys, we're gone.